We look at the skin to get messages of youth, beauty, and fertility. And that's why these are multi-billion-dollar industry. We cannot help feeling that if our hair looks good, or with dentition or teeth look good, or nails look good, or skin look good, we are more attractive. And it's because it is true. We advertise our health.
Welcome to the Medical Entrepreneur Podcast. We have with us probably one of the most well-known people in the aesthetics industry, Dr. Shino Bay. Such an honor to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. I have so many questions for you, and I'm just so interested in your journey. But one thing that I felt was, as soon as, like when I first met you in person, I could just tell that you were 100% genuine, which is so rare in the aesthetics industry, right?
Thank you.
I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about your journey into healthcare and kind of what led you toward medical entrepreneurship.
I think since I was little, I always wanted to do something that was related to medicine. I think maybe because I was a sickly child. I had really bad asthma, so there were a few instances that I almost died. Because by the time my grandma was able to get me to the hospital, it was remote. It wasn't around the corner, waiting for the bus just so I can get. I remember like being on the bus, almost like taking my last gasp of air, and it was like going to the hospital. I knew that most kids have like a white coat syndrome. For me, going to the hospital always. I was so happy going there because I knew that I was going to feel better and they were going to care for me, and then I just fell in love with doing that for a living. And I said to my grandma I was going to be a doctor, and I think I've been saying that since I was 5 years old.
And then how did you go from that to your training and then deciding to specialize in dermatology?
Well, it's been a long journey. In fact, like people don't know, but I've been if you see it that way, 4 or 5 different type of physicians. I started when I graduated from medical school and did my residency. I became a family practitioner. I worked for the VA in Reno, Nevada for a while. Then I became a hospice doctor. So I worked for hospice of the Palm Beaches while still applying to get into dermatology because it was my dream to become a dermatologist. So I never gave up. It's really hard to get in. And I don't take no for an answer. I don't give up on my dreams. So I kept applying until I got in. So then I did general dermatology. And now I'm doing aesthetic dermatology. And then if you think about it, I'm trying to lead into bioregenerative aesthetic medicine, which is a whole subfield of aesthetic medicine.
And what first piqued your interest about dermatology?
Well, I also growing up, 2 things that I always was fascinated with the skin and how it is tightly with how you feel. And also growing up, I would get, maybe now I know that it was probably because hygiene in the place where I grew up as a child. I would get furuncles and carbuncles, which is a very big abscesses or cysts usually on my face from staph infections. So I would get hospitalized for those too because they were pretty severe abscesses. Also, my grandma had stasis ulcers on her legs, and she was a little bit overweight, and she could sometimes clean her wounds that would be there for years, almost look like a shark took a bite out of her leg, and sometimes they would go as deep as their bone. So I would be deep breathing and putting the Una booth on her and trying to help her get better. So when I had experience of having the abscesses on my face, I felt deformed. I felt ugly. I felt how people reacted to me. Like I would go to school and I would sit on the table where people were going to have lunch, and people look at me and they would move away. And, and I felt horrible about myself, but I also understood that they had a right to feel that way when they were about to eat and look at me. So I always felt like skin was very important, and it would dictate how I felt that day. If I had clear skin, it was a good day, and if it wasn't, it was a shitty day. And I also experienced that in my early 20s. I didn't have acne in high school, but I started getting acne in my 20s, like 23. And at that time, I worked as a male model, so they didn't have Photoshop. It costs money to retouch photos. So you have a casting with 25 guys and three of them is Latino like me. Well, why would they pick the guy with acne? It would cost, unless you were like, you know, a supermodel, but I wasn't. So it dictated even my livelihood. I got self-conscious. So the way you think your skin looks and feels, it dictates how you're gonna feel that day because you feel that you are being judged by the quality of your skin.
Wow. And do you feel that that's the kind of, obviously you went through that yourself. Is this what you like when patients come to see you, you're basically offering this ability to help them feel better as well?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I always tell my residents when I do master classes or conferences that people cannot see your neurotoxins like your Botox, Dysport, or people cannot see your fillers. If they do, it's a bad job. I mean, if somebody can look at you and say, oh, I can see your fillers, or you look weird because your neurotoxin was done poorly, that's an adverse reaction. It's a bad job. But people do see your skin. And we do judge people, whether you do it consciously or unconsciously. We do judge people by the quality of the skin because we are getting messages from your skin. We look at your skin and we try to, in the subconscious mind, find out if you are of reproductive age, you're young or older. We also looking, your skin also can demonstrate you or advertise your health. There's a part of our training in dermatology called genodermatosis that you can see clearly that just by looking at certain condition and certain disease, a lot of them they have been weeded out through the years because just natural selection of weeding out diseases that you don't see anymore. But it's genodermatosis. And with this, we study like people that have certain disease. You can just by looking at them, you can see by looking at their teeth, the nails, the skin, the hair, they have similar characteristic. And they were like the telltale sign that they had this particular gene disease. And that is in the subconscious mind. So we look at the skin to get message of youth, beauty, and fertility. And that's why these are multi-billion-dollar industry. We cannot help feeling that if our hair looks good or our dentition or teeth look good or nails look good or skin look good, we are more attractive. And it's because it is true. We advertise our health.
Yeah, that's so true. How did you go from, getting done with your dermatology residency? Like what made you want to start your own venture in the medical fields?
I'm a Scorpio, triple Scorpio. So I'm a Scorpio, the Jewish calendar, the regular calendar, and my ascending sign is Scorpio. And although don't have a lot of me, I do, but I don't because I work on the negative aspect of my character as a Scorpio. If you believe in astrology, but Scorpios tend to be controlling and don't like to have bosses. So I don't like people to tell me what to do. And then I never like to work for somebody. I like to work for myself. So I felt like right off the bat, I wanted to open my own practice. I didn't want to work for somebody. I already have tried that when I worked for the VA and other institutions. I wanted to open my own place where I call the shots, not answering to somebody else.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I think most people that are medical entrepreneurs feel the exact same way, especially after you've been through the mainstream medical system.
Yeah.
How do you feel like you measure your success in business beyond just the financial aspect?
I'm happy to get up every morning and come to work. I think that it is successful. You cannot measure success by the amount of money, monetary gains that you're going to have. I mean, I think that's the wrong way to measure your success because monies do make things easy and we need it. Currency is basically the way you measure your time and effort, right? The time that you put it's a good way to measure your time and effort. So the more money you make, you know that you have put the time and the effort to get to that point. But really, success that really fills the soul is by creating an environment that when you come, you just don't feel like it's another day at a job. For me, this is my happy place. I come here to make people feel beautiful. I don't feel that it's work. I set the tone of my practice. You come here one day, you see that we're all laughing, we're having a good time. We just, like a big happy family. I think that is success, not making the money that I make.
We've run into a lot in the medical entrepreneur community are people that are kind of stuck in what we call mainstream medicine, where maybe a hospital or an insurance company is dictating how you practice, and you have this series of bureaucracies that are essentially suppressing your creative drive and may even be antagonistic to what's best for the patient. Could you maybe describe how, like, with your own practice, you were able to positively impact a patient's life?
With aesthetics, and a lot of people sometimes, there's always trolls on social media and people. But so I'm a spiritual person, and I try to connect what I do with spirituality. And a lot of people don't see it because they see what I do as something that is frivolous, or it is just plain vanity, and we should all age the way God intended us to age. And I have an answer for that. But I do dwell in a realm of fear. And what you need to understand that aging is not so easy for many people. And you may be happy and content because you look young until you start aging yourself. And then you start thinking, I'm still going to be visible, especially on women. Women do feel invisible after a certain age because there's a lot of ageism in this society, especially with the aesthetic boom, right? So, and also men, they feel like, am I gonna be relevant in the workforce? Am I gonna be replaced with somebody that looks younger than me, that knows how to do a podcast and use the computer better than I do? It comes as a second nature to them. If I look younger, maybe I can actually last longer in the workforce. I'm not gonna be replaced. And these are real feelings that people that come to me are feeling. And remember, when you get older, you are reminded that your dates of having health and that energy of youth are counted. And if you haven't done the things that you wanted to do, that you always wanted to do, you feel like you're running out of time. And that creates fear. And if you're beautiful or handsome or good looking, and being beautiful and handsome is your currency, more fear you have. And you have no children or nieces and nephews that you can look up to something in the future, you also suffer more because then you don't have anything to look forward as you get older. So yes, I do affect people's life in a positive way because I can actually make them appear younger, but I go beyond that. I give them a spiritual facelift and I help them cope with the aging process the best way they can and the best way I know how to teach. Because sometimes as you're getting older, you may feel guilt of spending money in a place like mine, or even considering doing something, especially if you are a man because you're supposed to be macho and manly, but all these things are feeling that are being thrust upon us by society. It is okay to want to take care of yourself. And it is okay to get up every morning and like what you see in the mirror reflecting back at you. So there should not be any guilt on wanting to look younger or stay younger. In fact, I wrote a paper that shows that it was last March, Prime in Europe, that if the sixth decade is very important because if you can look useful on your sixth decade, your 60s, that translates in that you're going to be doing younger things. You're going to dress young. You're going to give yourself permission to be around young people and do young things with the young people. You want to still moving, going to the gym. You care about yourself still. So that means that your health span in your 70s and 80 is going to be better if you let yourself go. So taking care of yourself is important for your health.
Yeah, that's so true. And I really love the fact that you talked about, using spirituality in your practice. And I know that's, even on your business card, like it talked about that. Could you maybe expand upon like how you're able to use spirituality to also help these patients as well?
Yeah, like I said, somebody said, how can you call yourself spiritual if you do aesthetics for a living? That's just pure vanity. And I said, well, that's exactly what I need to be. That's not exactly where my calling is. I need to be in this space and shed light on those who fear the aging process. And the aging process can be something that can be so frightening for some people. And you have to help your patients to age not only with integrity and gracefully, but you have to help them cope with the changes that come uh, you know, with advanced age. And that is something that I get an opportunity every day when my patients sit on the chair to be able to talk to them about the aging process, how they feel, what they feel. And then I either give them a book to read. I spend a lot of time with my patients in the room. I tell them to go and follow me on my Instagram because every day I meditate and I post spiritual reflections of mine that they're done with an idea, and the idea is to help those people that are following me cope with the aging process, also be helpful for people in the industry um, to um, to get ideas towards bioregenerative aesthetic medicine instead of just thinking of faking young or faking youth with fillers. I also use my voice to guide the industry as a whole with my thoughts where I feel where we should be in the future. So I use my social media platform to talk about spirituality, and I tell my patients to go and read it because there's always a message for someone. A lot of times I listen to them, I ponder that night before I go to bed. I wake up in the morning, get 20 minutes, and I start writing the spiritual answer for that patient to hear. And I feel like I do a pretty good job doing that.
One of the things I thought was really so interesting is your take on technology, because obviously you use technology, but at the same time, one of the things that I think you said recently at the elite retreat was just how caring for patients comes first and technology second. Could you maybe talk about how you use technology in your practice and what limitations you might put on technology?
So, well, it all depends what stage because technology, as you mentioned, that can divide it into many things, right? You have energy devices, and then you have skincare that have actually a smart technology working at a cellular level, like exosomes and things like that. And then you have biocollagen stimulators and injectable fillers. And so we have tons of technology to make our patients appear younger, right? So we can make our patients appear younger, but we cannot make our patients stay young or feel young. And that is where I feel technology has their limitations. That is where I feel the way I practice aesthetic medicine is important, where I mentioned earlier, I give my patient a spiritual facelift because I trying to help them see the aging process not as something that they need to fear, but something that they need to embrace because with that comes wisdom and also the opportunity to continue to experience life. So that every year that you get older, it is a blessing. And they need to see it like that and not focus on the architectural changes of their face, which I can help with that. And if I cannot, I send them to a plastic surgeon. And then the other thing is the functional aesthetic medicine part of it that I try to teach. I mean, my patients need to understand that they need to do intermittent fasting in order to slow the aging process, that they need to cut down sugar, that they need to reduce the level of stress and give them tools to be able to do that. So that is where I feel like the way I practice aesthetics is important to emulate, because most people is like boom, 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 bye. I see you in 3 months for your next neurotoxin. I don't practice like that. I definitely feel like I need to have my patients understand how to stay young. And staying young is more than just what I do for them with these hands. They need to understand how they can cultivate the energy of youth and how you can take that to your advantage to change your health span on decades to come.
That's a very beautiful answer, and I think it's so true because I feel a lot of people will say in the aesthetics industry that they're not only a practitioner of aesthetics, but they're also like a counselor, And so that's really hit the nail on the head with that. It's very beautiful. One question I was wondering if you could answer is, did you ever have a time where you maybe suffered a setback in your entrepreneurial journey, and how did you overcome that setback?
Yeah, I have many setbacks, many. And one of the thing is that's why I like to mentor. I I have mentors in dermatology, but I never had a mentor um, in how to operate a business. And I think we should, in our industry, especially in medical school, really set a time aside to teach doctors to be business people. I made so many mistakes from hiring the wrong people. One of my setbacks, I made my manager and accountant being the same person. And you know what that ended up like happening to me. I didn't do anything to this person because she had two adopted child from Russia, 8 years old and 6 years old. So I wasn't going to take their mother away just because she did something really bad to me. I just give it to God and God will take care of me. Then I also got bamboozled by, I'm not going to say names, but the life partner of a friend of mine that passed, a dermatologist, and told me that it was his dying wishes for me to inherit his practice. Sold it for a lot of money that I didn't even have, but I went for it. And there was no patient left on that practice. And I stopped going there because if I continued going, I was going to, it was like a bleeding arm. So I had to cut it out because I wasn't in Fort Lauderdale where I was thriving. So I was losing patient here, not having enough there. So I decided not to go, but nobody told me that when you rent a location that is, it has a word for that, is this location that is supposed to, retail space. A retail space, you just cannot just show up to work. You have to open. I didn't know that. So he's trying to sue me. And then the place where I was leasing, they sue me like for $4 million.
Whoa.
And so here I go, a young dermatologist, just starting my career, not understanding anything, taking advantage. And now I have $4 million in debt, and I had to get lawyers and defend myself. And it took years to settle this. And I feel like I was in 2.5 years of this. I don't know how I didn't age prematurely, but it was so stressful to go through that.
And one thing I liked what you said is that, here's somebody who had done you wrong and you were able to just basically forgive them. That definitely shows, advanced enlightenment on your side and just this ability to release those who have done wrong, is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. No, it's me. I feel blessed. I think God, the universe, the light, whoever you pray to, whatever energy, intelligence that's out there, I feel that my whole life I've been pretty guided and I'm very blessed and lucky. I have made every dream in my life come true and they keep coming true. I think that once you know how to learn how to manifest and you believe that you are manifestor generators, you can make all of your dreams come true. I think people just don't know how to, or they don't believe, because you really have to believe. I mean, just being a dermatologist, that was a manifestation for me. It's funny, people don't know this, but um, I applied to many programs and didn't get in, and a program was made just for me to become a dermatologist. One program. And it took about 5 other years of residence and it closed. And I say it was made for me because I prayed for it, I meditated every day. And all of a sudden, a young dermatologist, she wanted to be a dermatologist herself. She kept knocking doors in hospitals to see if they can let her open a dermatology program so she could be a dermatologist. So everybody would say no to her. And when she came to my hospital, the medical director of my program, because he loves me and he knew that was my dream, he said yes and he committed to it. And he would tell me, just for you, Shino, so you can be a dermatologist. And the process, 5 other dermatologists came after me and the program closed.
Wow, that is amazing. Can you maybe talk a little bit more about how you manifest?
I can tell you things that I do. Visualization does work, I think. And you have to do it like right before you go to bed or right as soon as you get up in the morning before you grab. Most people do this and they just destroy they grab the phone as soon as they open the eyes, they reach for it. No, you just let it be. Even your alarm right now, maybe you want to press down the alarm so it doesn't ring. Don't grab, don't see your images, news, nothing. At that moment, you can start now thinking on someone that you really love or something. It could be a dog, it could be your cat. You think, and then you come and you feel that love. I mean, and once you're there, that you feel that love for this animal or your mom or your sister, whoever, your children, now you're in a place of love. And then you start visualizing the way athletes do. Because people do things out of love and people do things out of fear. But if you're able to connect with the energy of love and you have an emotion and you attach that emotion to that thought and you do it time after time again, knowing that it's going to happen, it will happen. It will come through. It may not happen immediately. And that's why some people, they listen to me and do it. And then they just swim so, and then just at the shallow part of the beach, they drown because they gave up.
That's so true in so many things. Oh, I love that. That's so interesting because it's I've studied that myself quite a bit, and we see this in medicine all the time. Especially, you have the patients that get sick and they continue to get sick no matter what you do, and they have a very negative attitude, and it seems like their health goes down. And then I know there's other patients that it seems like no matter what you try on them, it always works because they're always happy and positive, and they believe, just like you said. And so I see this every day of the practice. How people's beliefs and thoughts actually become their health and eventually what's around them. That's
Yeah.
that's so awesome. Man, that's a great. Thanks for sharing that.
The other thing that I can share about manifesting that has to do with what we're talking about is the clinic where I am right now. People don't know that again, I didn't have anybody to guide me. So, but I think sometimes what you don't know is better. Like if you don't know something, you don't fear it and you do it, and there's no dream killers to come and sabotage your dream. So I was on my middle of my second year residency in dermatology. And I just knew that if I stay in Florida, because I grew up in LA, I was supposed to go back home. I would like to open on Olas Boulevard, downtown Fort Lauderdale. It's like the Rodeo Drive of downtown Fort Lauderdale. I like that little street for whatever reason. And so I told my partner at the time, let's go this weekend. Let's see where I'm going to open my practice because I like to visualize things for my manifestation. And as soon as I turned on 3rd Avenue on Las Olas, I saw this building where I am right now. I go, that is it. That is my building. Stop right here. So we stop, we walk, and where my clinic is, it says for lease. So I called the number and somebody answered and we told we're interested in the space. The person came, gave us a tour, and I said, okay, great. Yeah, we're interested. And then I told him I was going to be a dermatology clinic. I said, oh, no, 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 no. This is a retail space. It was going to be a Wolfgang Puck restaurant. We don't want people with nasty things on their face on the elevator. Everybody's a lawyer here. No, 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 it's not for that. I'm sorry. So I was heartbroken and I looked in other places, but there's no way. So I started manifesting again. 6 months later, I was already middle of my, no, I think like a little less, but on my 3rd year of residency, and I get a phone call. I go, are you the dermatologist that wanted this place on Las Olas Boulevard? I go, yes, that's me. And then he said, well, it's yours if you want it. I go, oh my God, now I need money. But already was there. So I didn't have any money. I didn't even have a saving account. I mean, I bounced checks all the time. I was poor. My program, my dermatology resident program was non-funded. So I worked nights in hospice and weekends. I did my all-day dermatology residency, and from there I went to do rounds on in my hospice patients and weekends. So I worked throughout my whole residency. Had no money to save because I had to pay my bills. But I had a friend that he graduated 2 years ahead of me. I said, "Can you give me your business plan in opening a general derm practice?" And I grabbed there's another story within the story, but I was already a speaker for cynosure lasers and doing trainings and speaking engagement for that company. So I had the PowerPoints of every laser that they had. I had the return of investment if I had a laser, how much I was going to make if I only had 3 patients a day. I took my friend's business plan. I used that, put it together. Me, which I don't even know how to write things, took it to a bank. At that time they usually would give $250,000 out of residency. I don't know why I got close to $1.2 million, and I opened my clinic, bought all the equipment and every laser I said I was going to have. So see, you can manifest. So once you believe it, things happen.
And then in that example, so every day that you were interested in that, once you saw that practice, did you every day when you woke up, you got yourself into a state of feeling love, and then you focused on having that practice? Did you do that every single day, or?
Yeah, every day, every morning, every night. It doesn't take that long to tell you. It takes me usually 20 minutes of my time in the morning. At nighttime, I'm there. Sometimes I fall asleep doing it. So it's the morning one that I only have 20 minutes. But yeah, you just have to do it and commit to it and see it happening. And the universe will conspire for you, And once you see that everything in your life has come true, then you believe. And that's the thing. You have to believe. If you don't believe, you have seeds of uncertainty in your mind. Forget it. Nothing's going to happen.
And is there any tips that you have for, actually building that belief? Because I think you're 100% right. I see all the time, even in the entrepreneurial space, a lot of times people, they want to do something, but they don't believe in themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I think, listen, God wants you to have everything you want. But a lot of times, I think people get lazy. Everybody wants to pray that God magically brings them the opportunities. No, you have to work for the opportunities. You actions. So a lot of people, for example, it's like, oh, I want to lose weight. Every New Year's, everybody wants to lose weight, and they talk about it. I'm gonna lose weight. Oh, they talk so much about losing weight, but you never seen them going to the gym or changing their eating habits. So, I mean, okay, we hear you, but you could be laser focused on your goal. A lot of people are laser focused on their goal, but the behavior doesn't change. You have to change your behavior. If your behavior is to lose weight, well, you need to stop eating Twinkies or donuts during lunch and just go for a walk every day. Just like, instead of eating, just walk around the block. Your behavior needs to change just a little bit to match that energy, that frequency, and then your dreams will come true. But people don't do that. I also have a one thing and I made a lecture about it. It's called Dream Killers and Co-Dreamers. And this lecture is very important. I gave it during COVID for MWC Monaco. I never had the opportunity to give it live, but it was a great lecture. And, I have shared since, on platforms. But I was giving, there's two different people in your life that can come, the dream killers and the co-dreamers. And the dream killers sometimes could be somebody very close to you that means well, but they had a bad experience and they trying to force their experience on you out of love, and then you get fear. I think the only reason I was able to get this office in Las Olas because I didn't tell anyone to tell me, "Are you crazy? You haven't even finished your second year residency. What are you doing? You need to graduate. Like nobody does this." But I did it. It didn't work out. If I would have told somebody, "Hey, I'm planning to go and look for an office on my second year of residency." But you have to recognize the dream killers because you don't share your dreams with them. You can talk about anything else, but know your dreams are goals. And then you recognize the co-dreamers and you share your dreams and goals because co-dreamers believe in your dreams and goals more than you believe yourself. And you need to surround yourself with those people because those people are your biggest cheerleaders and promoters that will put you in the right direction and they will mentor you sometimes to make your dreams come true.
Man, that is so true. And I know I know in my own personal example, like, dream killers can definitely derail you, and then having those co-dreamers, they support you and can even guide you in situations where you didn't even know to be asking for guidance.
Correct. Yeah, definitely. So in the lecture, I gave every character a name. So when people recognize that energy, they're like, okay, this is the YOLO spender. This is, the negative, so I have different names. This is the doodle-minded thinker. And then you have, the positive realistic, which is the opposite of the pessimistic. So I have name for every single character. So when you are talking to somebody or somebody wants to go on business with you, and you like, okay, I know who this person is. This is the YOLO spender. This is the doodle-minded thinker that likes to do a lot of things but never finish anything. You recognize it and you can make an important decision in your life not to go in partnership with somebody like that or share your dreams with somebody like that.
That's actually one of the questions I had next for you is about collaborations. I think that's perfect answer for it, though. Exactly. Identify who they are because you're 100% right. If you get the wrong person, it can definitely derail you.
Yeah, I mean, I think the people that are the most out of all of them, you have like the doodle-minded thinker. These are people that they say yes to everything, but they never finish everything. Everything is just half done, and they move to another project. And they're not bad people, but they're just like. And then you have the get rich quick type of persona, a character, and this person, you see this in the younger generation. I mean, they all want to be influencers. They all want to, whatever way to get, way to make money, but really fast. OnlyFans, influencers. You know what I mean? I just my residents like they're talking about a show that they want to get paid like what I like get paid immediately plus every Friday off. I go, you guys listening to yourself? You need to earn this type of money. Like when if I were to hire you, you have zero patience and you expect me to pay you $450,000 while you're sitting there. When I got my junior partner, you know what I did? I stopped paying myself to pay his salary because I know it's an investment on the practice. No, thank God I was a business owner, so I can pay myself still a living with distributions, but I stopped paying me so I can support him and his career. You can't just think that you graduate out of residency and you have 20 patients waiting for you. It doesn't happen like that. It takes an average of 2 years to get somebody off residency to get busy in my realm, aesthetics.
Wow. And then would you tell anyone who's, we run into people all the time that are very interested in aesthetics and they're stuck in the mainstream medicine. A lot of them are nurses, nurse practitioners, these, kind of things. What would be your advice for anyone who wants to go into the aesthetic space, but maybe they did training in something else?
You have to have an eye and a passion for it. If you go in it because you think it is good way to make money, you will not survive. I mean, this is a job that, like you said, we're healers, and we touch people, and we are committed to make them feel better about themselves. And these are different ways to make people feel better and improve the well-being and mental health and health span. So if you think you're not coming because you burned out of ER or OBGYN and you're doing it for the money, you're gonna fall sooner or later fall flat on your face, and you're not gonna be succeed because you have to be able to understand that you are going to share your energy and your light with these patients because they come with fear, and you have to prepare mentally. Me, I do rituals to trying to get people out of my space. Like sometimes, like I gotta show you this. Sometimes there's a patient with a lot of fear or a patient that is difficult, and I cannot get into the other room and trying to work on that poor patient because I am like this, because that patient energy managed to enter in my space. And when you work like that, something bad is going to happen. So you get an adverse reaction with that patient, or worse, with the patient that you go and see next. And that had nothing to do with what just happened on the prior room. So I had this that my friend Camilo gave me. And then I just, and I take their vibration out of my space, and it works. So whatever you do, you may think this is hocus pocus, but hey, it works. Sometimes I'm working and I hear ding, I go, okay, somebody needs to get rid of someone out of their space because got a difficult person in their life. It doesn't have to be here. It could be, an argument with your spouse, and you just can't work and concentrate because they're still on your space. You just ring that bell.
Man, I love that, and that's something I've seen too. Like, I remember I worked at the shrine for Shriners Burn, and
Mhm.
they, the Shriners always had the little hat, and you might have seen the Shriners monkey with the symbols,
Yeah,
And they always kind of joke about that. But the whole thought, like one of the Shriners explained it to me. He said that basically when you bang those symbols, it's the vibration from the symbols that allows you to focus on that vibration and let the other stuff go.
yeah.
And you're exactly right, because I can tell you, I mean, how often do you run into maybe a difficult patient and you carry that energy with you, and then the rest of your day is difficult?
Yeah, no, I mean, everything is vibration, like everything. My words are resonating because of vibration. This table is vibrating and it's solid. So it is not hocus pocus. Vibrational energy, it can displace other energies. And believe me, as simple as that, bring. So this is a mechanical way for me to clear something that it is in my spiritual space and mind. And I just was I peer review articles, and this article talks about this Schumann 7.8 wavelength, nanometer wavelength. And what they did, they have this culture skin, injured it, vibrated it, and they were able to show that this vibration at this 7.8 hertz was able to make the fibroblasts proliferate, the keratinocytes to also and go and start the wound healing cascade. So all these things that we were thinking, like, hocus pocus by people as spiritual or ancestors that they talk about, is being now being proven medically and scientifically. But again, we are vibrations, so you have to be able to transmute energy. And when we work with patients in aesthetic, we are doing that. We transmute energy all day long. So you have to understand that if you come into because of the money, you in for a root awakening because you spend a lot of energy of your own energy trying to make them feel good about themselves.
That is so beautiful. And then, when you give out good energy, you get it back. So would you say
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
why so many people love you?
No, you get what you put out there. You return tenfold.
Well, man, thank you so much for your time. I know you're limited on it. Thank you so much for the interview. It's so freshening to hear, like a different perspective. And, like you said, science is starting to prove many of the things, in quantum mechanics, talks about, how much our appearance, or what we see and what we believe, affects, like the observer effect, where, it affects scientific research, even just how we view that. So
Yeah,
it's so
well, thank
amazing.
you. I'd be proud if I wanted to share, because I told you that there was a story within the story of getting my practice here. That I became a speaker for Cynosure lasers. I was actually at that point, my life partner worked for Cynosure, and I was, residency and family practice, then dermatology, and I always looked younger for my age. So I would just go with him because it was a paid vacation. He has 6 days, and and then all over Florida. So I would sit. I would sign people in. I would sit on the back and listen to the lecture. And it was the same lecture over and over for years. So I already knew the lecture by memory, like just reciting a movie. And one day, his KOL, Tammy Leo, she was pregnant, and she confirmed that night that she was coming. And that morning, right, like we have the room full of people, we have 60 doctors. It was the beginning of the non-aesthetic doctors trying to become, try to partake on the aesthetic world. And she called that she was violently ill. She couldn't make it. He's freaking out. I've never seen him like that. I thought he was going to get a stroke. I'm more like, well, there's no dermatologist here. There's no plastic surgeons. They don't need to know that I am a second year resident. Uh, uh, you know, um, or you just tell them that I'm a board certified family practitioner that knows about these lasers. You're not lying because I know about this laser because I play with them at home. I treated all my friends. And also I know the lecture, so I can do it. And then he thought about it and then he's like, okay, do it. And I freaked out because I never spoke in front of anybody and I have a thick accent. So I just like, why did I commit it? But I did it out of love, you know? So I did it and we sold 5 lasers. Every uh, and every time he used me, lasers were sold. So then all the reps in the country go, whenever Chino speaks, lasers are sold. So then they used me and Sanoshur took me in and prepped me and made me a luminaire for the lasers. And I did that for 17 years. So
Wow.
that's how I was able to have that return of investment on the lasers. If I didn't have said, let me do this lecture for you, Rich, because you're going to get a heart attack, I would not have worked for Sinosure. I would not have that information that made my business plan appealing to a bank to give me that much money to open a place like this. So no, so you see what I'm saying? It's like the opportunities come because you do the work. And if you do good things in life, I did this out of love for him. Things will happen into place. So you are powerful beings. Your vibration attracts your tribe. Your vibration attracts your dreams. Whatever you're thinking, that vibration is going to attract what you are thinking predominantly, as long as you attach emotion. And that emotion better be love. Because if you attach fear to that vibration, that what you're thinking, that what you want, is going to dissipate, disappear, go into the black hole, the abyss, and it will never come your way. So manifest from a place of love.
That is so beautiful. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And thank you so much for taking the time. I think just so enlightening, and I love your perspective on everything. You know, especially, and I can see it when, like, you know, obviously everybody wants to have you speak at their events and these kind of things, but also just the patients just love you so much because you connect with them on a vibrational or deep level, and you really care. That's one thing. Like, as soon as I met you, I could just feel it around you. Like, you were so authentic, and this is
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you. Well, thank you for this opportunity. I feel honored. Whenever I have a chance to express myself, I feel like I can probably, even if it's one person that saw this podcast and said, Adam, Shino, this was for me, that was very meaningful. This, I'm going to put this into practice. Or you just say one word that is going to change my life or change my life at that moment. It was all worth it. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much. It's been
Ciao.
awesome.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.